everybody stressed it, because what I'm finding is that the Project for Excellence in Journalism reports that the media coverage has been 57% negative for John McCain, and Barack seemingly is only 29% negative. But it's nothing compared to how nasty campaigns have gotten in the past. Apparently, this campaign does not rate at all with some of the campaigns that we have seen in the past.
We're going to be looking at those today in a later segment,
looking at those in the past. I mean, crazy stuff where, you know, you have a little girl, you know, picking flowers. This was, I think, Johnson and
Goldwater.
Picking flowers, and next thing you know, you come in close and you see a nuclear explosion.
Right.
I mean, it's just,
you know. Do you remember that? Do you remember that, Ed?
Yeah.
I think it's also pretty subjective, too, in terms of what people deem as negative or not. You know, some people could look at the truth and think, well, it's the truth, but it's still negative. I think there's a bit of subjective.
Innuendo should be off the table.
I don't think truth is. I don't think truth can be negative. You cannot like the truth, but I think that these guys are talking about, like, in the very early stages, when, you know, one candidate said, well, so-and-so's mother was a whore that walked the streets. Really? I mean, this is how they used to do in the 1800s.
And they didn't have the internet.
And the cousins.
There was no cell phone. There was no BlackBerry message.
Said you had a baby with a pig. I mean, it's crazy. They would say anything.
But it would take a year to get through to people.
Yes, now
by that time, the election's over.
I tell you, for some reason, bad news seems to travel quickly.
Yes, baby. It's so funny how you talk about perception, because, like, I saw an ad that I didn't like it. This was a brochure that was being sent to voters in Virginia, Missouri, and it's a plane that's crashing into a building. It says terrorists, don't care who they hurt, and then on the back it's got a picture of Barack, and it says at the bottom, you know, not who you think he is. Now, for me, some people thought their perception was not. For me,
because
I thought
it's innuendo.
I thought you were
terrorists need a good talking to.
Well, but when I looked at that,
all.
I know, but when I looked at it, I thought, you know, you're taking the pain of America and the heartache of America, and you're attaching it to terrorism, and you're invoking this fear.
And you're attaching it to a very, very, very patriotic American man.
It looks like he's not.
If you read the ad,
Who's going to read it after those images hit you in the face?
He said the premise of this ad was that he said he would talk to terrorists unconditionally.
Yes.
And he did say that. And I think that is something that troubles
let me point something
Americans.
out. Can anyone tell me when it became a bad idea to go and sit in front of the people who we are fighting and say, listen, you can't talk to us. You can't do this to us, because we spent 8 years not doing that, and it got because now even you have to admit that President Bush refused to talk to Ahmadinejad, Shum Shum Yum Yum, and I just and all of these guys,
But we've also had the UN who have unanimously said we should not unconditionally talk to this person, because if we break that code and we go and sit and talk with Ahmadinejad unconditionally without him meeting any of those regulations.
The UN has never said not to go talk.
There is talk amongst our allies that we should not do that. If one person breaks that, what's the incentive then for those terrorists to then meet any standard?
If you're going to say that the UN is so great, then the UN said we don't find any WMD in Iraq, and they did not listen to the UN.
Well, neither did Saddam Hussein, who violated 17 UN regulations.
The point. The point
I'm making is that we have not engaged in one of the greatest things that this country does, and that is to go sit with people, look them in the eye, and say, you want it to be a round table? Sure. You want it to be a long table? Sure. The bottom line is, you don't want to fool with us.
You think he's going to say, you know what? I see your point.
Elizabeth, you know what? Here's what I think. I think that when President Clinton went over to Shum Shum Yum Yum and said, listen, you wanna build all these things and sell them to our enemies? That's fine. You will not get another penny from us. You will not get a dime from us. You want to mess with your neighbors? We will take you out.
These are rational people that we're talking about in terms of...
But you know what? They have become less rational because we have not done anything to change. Yes, I'm sorry. You cannot say to me that sitting... You cannot say to...
Because of us.
Yes,
they're radical because of themselves.
They have become
We do
allowed
not
to
make them radical. Let's not take any blame for their ridiculous murders.
I believe that, yes, we have allowed them to become more radical. Well, okay, then why are we even discussing it? If it's not a discussion, you have your opinion, I have mine. My belief is, had we sat down and talked to some of these clowns, the crap would not have gone as far as it's gone, and we would not have as far back to come. We will be right back with Kristen Scott Thomas.